the only one that could go close to the house. You don't need to know any of that, except for everything I told you. Let's start the actual story. One day, the ultimate kid disappeared. Jeff, it's bedtime. But I mean, that must have taken him half an hour. But I mean, come on! Who wouldn't encourage this? So now I'm really freaking torn. Now my kid's sitting there all day, but he's like gonna be the next Hemingway. I mean, he's maybe not. But
no, it's okay. You're a proud father.
I would like to see Hemingway's 7-year-old attempt. Yeah. Okay.
Hello. And I think dum dum dum.
I know.
That's his garage band score in the background. In his head. He's multitasking.
I know. But I see humor, and he's got a bunch of these. You know, with my eyes the way they are, I wish I had that all the time. So here, these are other attempts that he did. And the interesting thing is that he'll ask me how to spell a word on one of these stories, and then he will, let's see, oops. And then, oh, sorry, I just showed you that one.
You just turned off the lights with your Bluetooth. Are you comfortable, by the way?
It's a really cool app.
Water
I could use some more vibration, frankly.
We need, whoa. Don't let the bright lights.
Somebody leaning on the switch by accident. Yeah. So what's really interesting is he'll ask me how to spell accept on story number 1. And then a couple of days later, he'll do another story where he uses that word and he won't ask me how to spell it. So that tells me that he's learning how to spell. And I mean, so...
David, I have a PhD in educational psychology.
Help me, Doc!
Touch the hand. That's really okay. I'm surrounded with the mommy expert and family journalist, and we can give you advice. It's going to cost you a touch, but David, relax. This is awesome. I think most of you would agree. Yeah. You follow a child's intrinsic motivation, and I don't know how this kid could have picked up an interest in writing. I wonder where that came from. So, yeah, I think it's great.
So none of you has any problem with the fact that this kid is, I mean, he's still addicted.
Get him a typewriter.
Get him, yeah. So that's it. But that's the crux of the issue. He says, get him a typewriter. So really, would we all feel better if he was doing the same thing on a typewriter? It doesn't make any sense.
One of those royals that...
Writing is writing, right?
Get him his own iPhone.
Oh, shut up!
Ixnay. Does he
Brian.
have physical activities? I mean, that would be the only worries if he doesn't have...
Is it
yeah, I mean, he does other stuff. He plays tennis, takes taekwondo. And...
Sounds awesome.
They can sit in the sun and write.
What's that?
They can sit outside into the sun and then write.
Go outside, get some fresh air and sunshine while you're rotting your brain. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Can you write in cursive?
Not on the iPhone.
I don't know any kid that can write in cursive.
Yeah, and I don't think they teach cursive until 4th grade.
I think they stopped.
Really?
They stopped teaching us.
But he can write.
Yes.
What would you rather have? A burned out middle schooler with perfect cursive, or a kid that can write? I know what I prefer.
So I guess the gist of all of it, I mean, everybody asks, I speak a lot for colleges and stuff, and everybody asks me, oh, these kids today, they don't have any social interaction, they're sitting behind Facebook, it's all isolationist, it's all losing people skills, and you know, the thing is, if you step back, you'll find that this kind of generational concern has happened with every single cultural shift there ever was. You know, the Beatles, you crazy kids with your long music and your loud hair, you know, and you know, I'm sure it goes, but you know, I'll bet when the typewriter came out, you know, you're rotting your brain, why didn't you write with a quill like the rest of us? You know, it's like, I'm sure every time there's a change, there's a reaction to this movement, and you know, can you imagine the cavemen, you know, like, the wheel, why can't you walk to the woolly mammoth skeleton like the rest of us? You know, it's like, I'm sure it's just built in. That change is frightening.
And we're having so much.
Think about, you know, when iPods came out and everyone started putting earbuds in their ears and nobody was talking for a while. I mean, and you go through that cycle of, wait a minute, you can't just tune out and not communicate with anybody. And, you know, you go through that cycle and then another cycle as all these things kind of find their level.
Look at our sound guy over there. I mean, he's supposed to be monitoring our sound. Is he asleep? He's got earbuds.
Do you have another one?
Jimmy! Can you pay attention? This is what we're doing right now. What do we got?
No wonder China's going to eat us for lunch.
Those darn white things in the ears. I love going up to kids. I got a group of teenage girls that come to my house every morning, and one of them has earbuds. I have 2 teenage daughters to go to school, to backpacks. And one of them has earbuds in, and I always love going up to her and say, "Hi, can you hear me now?" You know, she's like, so she pulls out one earbud and says, "Okay."
Hey, can I make a 40-second total digression that has nothing to do with education or anything, but concerns everyone in this room?
Absolutely.
So, what makes earbuds work is a rare earth element called neodymium. Okay, rare earth elements are neodymium and cerium and.
So you've been doing a thing with the periodic table?
Yes,
Just guessing. Continue.
This is obviously because I've been working on this Nova special about the elements.
Mr. Neodymium. Go ahead.
Neodymium. Which is interesting because in this whole series we interviewed like 30 scientists and none of them can pronounce neodymium. I mean, it's weird. It's their job. They're like, neodymium, neodymium, neodymium. No, that's not what it is. Anyway, but these rare earth elements, which are misnamed, they're not really rare. They're actually more abundant in the earth than lead. But they're very hard to separate. So they're called rare earth minerals. And they used to be relatively worthless. They were the trash fish of the ore deposits. But they are now the core of lithium-ion batteries and every app phone, every smartphone, iPhone, Android phone, iPad, electric cars.
And buckyballs.
And buckyballs are right. And buckyballs are neodymium with iron and boron mixed in. Super magnets. Televisions, flat panel TVs, the colors are formed by rare earth elements. So what have I just named? I just named every major technological development from the last 15 years. Smartphones, flat panel TVs, electric cars, all of it resides in this stuff, okay? Where do rare earth elements come from? China. What percent of the world's rare earth elements come from China? 98%. What are you, a scientist?
Scott Trailer.
Oh.
He has Wikipedia in his brain.
Oh my God, 98%! Give the man a stuffed animal.
You reach your column.
98% of rare earth elements come from China, which is fine as long as we can get a copious supply from China. But Scott, what has China been doing for the last 2 years?
Not playing nice.
Right. China has been throttling down exports 30% a year. By the end of this year, they will be exporting 0. And so what they're thinking is, why should we export these essential elements to the rest of the world to support our economy, to provide jobs here, when they could get us to set up our factories over there? Because they've got the rare earth elements we need to make the stuff. It's ingenious and scary as hell. We all are worried about the oil shortage? Dude, that was a warm-up act! What if we couldn't have batteries?
I'm going to turn your chair a little bit. Relax. Is that okay?
Much better.
It's all right. We need some herbal tea fast here, folks. This is.
But don't you think we all need herbal? I mean, isn't that terrifying? And it's this great. I mean, Congress knows about it, the scientific community knows about it, but the people don't know about it. But this is going to be the end of our iPhones and iPads and electric cars.
After we've all become addicted to them.
After we've become addicted.
Right.
So, what is the government doing? The government has gone to the #2 rare earth elements deposit in the world, which is Mountain Pass, California. It was shut down 10 years ago for environmental violations, and because nobody gave a crap about these rocks. But all of a sudden they're super valuable again and essential to our national security and our phones. So they have just spent the last 2 years gearing up to reopen the Mountain Pass mine. They expect in 4 years to be producing 25% of the world's rare earth minerals right here in the US of A. Isn't that an amazing story?
Cool.
Premiering April 4th on PBS.
Real estate there?
Is the real estate?
Buy
No, but you can buy stock in this company. I'm not allowed to do it. It's called Molycorp. Is the MOL? They used to make molybdenum. They started with molybdenum, which is another rare earth mineral. Now they're making all the different. They're like 17 rare earth elements, and they're going to mine most of them at this one mine.
Maybe we should occupy something over this whole issue.
Occupy molybdenum. Anyway,
Wow.
isn't that amazing?
Yeah, that's incredible.
Stock tips from David Rose.
Yeah. So anyway, education.
Well, that was really related to family technology.
It will do.